One of my favourite programmes when I used to listen to the radio as a teenager myself was Just a Minute, when of course you could be interrupted for hesitation, repetition, and of course you're too polite to do either of those two things. Young people are not. And one of the great things that seemed to emerge from the sessions that Andrew led was the way in which they became increasingly spontaneous, more willing to contribute, participate, and enjoy the meetings. Some of them were prepared, some of them weren't. Some of the pupils were very spontaneous, literally turned up to deliver a speech which, as you found yourselves in the other schools that I've heard about this evening, seemed to be quite marvellous in spite of the lack of proper presentational preparation. But because there was some background to them, they were able to get away with it. Others who didn't come with that same background, skill, knowledge, ability, were taught in a way that made them develop as speakers in a quite astonishing way. One of the things that struck me most forcibly was that they were taught very basic skills to start with, and then it built up and enabled them to participate, as Andrew has already outlined, in a way that was really interesting, really entertaining, and like you yourselves who have been leading them, I would feel by the end of the session quite uplifted at times, quite glad that I'd been able to participate in setting something up. But one of the ways that shone through most clearly of all was in the public speaking competition in our local authority. I have led teams to this competition for several years now. It is a selective authority in which the creme de la creme go to grammar schools. I have no quarrel with that at all. But our school is non-selective. We have the full range of ability beneath the top 10%. And as a result, therefore, you wouldn't normally expect them to come in the medal-winning positions. And they never have, although they've always participated with great enjoyment and with great fervour. On this occasion, we had 15-year-old and 16-year-old pupils up against grammar school pupils who were a year or more older than themselves, and instead of coming near the bottom or even bottom, they came third. Wow. I cannot believe the transformation in the young people that participated that evening. They showed their talent, they showed their ability, but most of all they had developed a structure to presenting something in public, despite the nerves, despite the quality of the opposition, despite the fact that this was a big step up for them in age as well as in presentation, in a way that earned them all the laurels that the Lord Mayor recognised that evening in choosing them as the third best team. Unlike Andrew, I do prepare my speeches by writing them out in full. I used to give sermons in churches, but I always found that if I'd written it out, I could just sort of dispense with it to some extent. But I just wanted to say some of this from the written sheet because it makes sure that I don't miss the essential points. There's no doubt that they gained immensely by participating in giving impromptu speeches, delivering sustained presentations, evaluating others, giving a talk, but also through the intangible qualities that they developed as well. It wasn't just public speaking skills. One of your speakers has already spoken about increased confidence, but they also developed social capabilities and a much increased maturity in how they went about things in their speaking and in their manner of relating to others. It was a pleasure every fortnight to see them come with Andrew. Sometimes they would not be there because they had other examinations to take place or there were illnesses, as you've said. But when they came, they participated fully until the great day of the celebratory party arrived. I have to admit, I was looking forward to this with some trepidation because I don't associate public speaking with partying. All I can say is that the assistant head who was invited to be the school representative on that occasion and to give a thank you speech hasn't stopped talking about it since. She was totally amazed, and she hasn't stopped reminding me how much she enjoyed just being there, listening to the young people give their speeches, while about a dozen members of Toastmasters sat in judgment on them. You imagine that? 15-year-olds who would never get up to speak in public a year earlier were now speaking to highly experienced people, being judged, competing against each other, presenting their evaluations with confidence and skill, having started with very little of those abilities and skills in the beginning. It's certainly benefited our school, and I'm sure that if you set one up in your locality and can persuade the school to join with you in the enterprise, you will also see much fruit and great development in young people. Thank you very much.